Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's day 5, the final day for my Doctor Who week. Tomorrow is the big day that the Day of the Doctor 50th anniversary premieres. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be simulcast around the world, so everyone will see it at the same time. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Matt Smith and David Tennant at the same time. It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Dairy. Okay, wrong show, but still a good phrase to describe it. Anyways, alright, so for the final day of my Doctor Who week celebration, I've been doing these top 5 lists, so I thought I'd save what I thought was the best idea for a list for the last day, and that is my top 5 Doctors. Yep, my top 5 incarnations of the Doctor. I know a lot of people do like episodes and stuff, but I feel like, you know, since Doctor Who is a show where the main character, the Doctor, can be played by a different actor and the show can continue on, that's one of the amazing elements about this show that makes it so great. So I figured I'd talk about my top 5 incarnations of the Doctor. Okay, so starting with number 5, the Ninth Doctor, portrayed by Christopher Eccleston. The Ninth Doctor was the Doctor who was the first Doctor of the show when it was relaunched. He was also the Doctor that survived the Time War, which was pretty much the giant war across space and time between the Time Lords and the Daleks that ultimately ended in both races' destruction caused by the Doctor, who wanted to end the war. Excuse me. And however, though the Daleks did survive, and the Time Lords did make a couple more appearances again, but it was mostly just stuff from the Time War. Anyways, the Ninth Doctor was kind of fun. Was funny, but also very dark, having survived the war. I think that the episode that best proves this point is probably the episode Dalek, when at first he encounters the last Dalek in existence, but then he realizes. But then when he meets it again, well, at first he's filled with a bunch of fear. Then he starts mocking the Dalek, and then finally realizing that this is the last one, he just gives into his dark side and just gets ready to attack the thing. And at the end of the episode, he did almost kill Dalek until he was persuaded not to by Rose. So pretty much the Ninth Doctor had a lot of darkness in him. He wanted to, obviously he was trying to move on. He got another companion, Rose. He started exploring the universe with her, and he was trying to move on, but still parts of the war were still in him, and it was those darker instincts he had against things like the Daleks and stuff. But yeah, I think the Ninth Doctor I liked the Ninth Doctor. I wish we could have gotten more of him, but unfortunately Christopher Eccleston only did 1 season, so I think that's terrible. I wish we could have had at least another year of him, but oh well. And and also I like his look. It was pretty simple. It was just like black pants, V-neck, and leather jacket. That was pretty simplistic, so I kind of like that look. All right, next up, number 4, the Third Doctor, portrayed by Jon Pertwee. The Third Doctor was, as most people describe him, a bit of a dandy. He pretty much wore like a puffy shirt and a cape, like someone out of the Victorian era. And this Doctor is most well known for being stuck on Earth most of the time, because his regeneration was actually forced by the Time Lords on the Second Doctor, who decided who for punishment for, I believe, stealing the TARDIS and leaving Gallifrey, was exiled to Earth. And when the Third Doctor and he was also forced to regenerate to get a new face. And so the Second Doctor regenerated to the Third Doctor, and he landed on Earth, and he couldn't pilot his TARDIS off Earth until years later, when they did the first 10-year reunion special, which was the first multi-Doctor story, the 3 Doctors, and after defeating Omega, his ability to get the TARDIS to work properly returned. I liked the Third Doctor. He was definitely a lot more. He was a little more gadget-oriented. He was the one who invented the classic iconic screwdriver, the iconic sonic screwdriver of the classic era. I should have brought that thing out. Anyways, yeah, he did. He invented well, not really invented the sonic screwdriver because the second Doctor did have one, but he more or less improved it. I think his had different interchanging heads on the screwdriver as well. Plus, he was a little more, I wouldn't say he was all the time action. He was still mostly a thinker and a scientist. He actually did get a job working with UNIT working as their science advisor. And also, but there were times where he would just usually like take out someone with like a judo chop or something. Like, I thought that was pretty interesting characteristic for an incarnation of the Doctor. And also during the Third Doctor's era, we were introduced to many long-term characters such as the Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and also the Master. So yeah, the Third Doctor was pretty cool. He was kind of a man of action, but for the most part, he was probably the one Doctor that was really close to the Earth. That was like really a lot closer to the Earth. Because even when I believe even when he could still travel to other planets and stuff, he still kind of, stayed on Earth a bit because he was sort of settled on there, I guess. All right. Next up, my third favorite Doctor is the Fourth Doctor, played by Tom Baker, who is the longest running Doctor, because Tom Baker portrayed the character for 7 years. And also I think the Fourth Doctor is really the most iconic Doctor. Well, if you don't, is pretty much the most iconic Doctor because of the long scarf, the hat, and the bag of jelly babies. That was his thing. He always used to offer people candy, specifically the jelly babies. And also in the Fourth Doctor, he was really funny, quirky. I can see why Tom Baker clearly loved the role, because you can kind of see that when he portrays him. I mean, why else would he play the same character for 7 years, right? Sorry, thirsty. And the Fourth Doctor, he had a lot. I think the Fourth Doctor, he has the longest tenure of all the Doctors. So he has a ton of adventures that I think you'll definitely find one you'll enjoy. So, I mean, personally, I enjoyed the episode. My favorite Fourth Doctor episode is probably Genesis of the Daleks, when it's probably one of my favorite Tom Baker moments, when he has the opportunity to destroy the Daleks before they come into existence, like stop their birth and stuff. He thinks to himself, right when he's about to do it, he knows he can kill these creatures that are basically pure evil. He still questions whether or not he has the right to do this, because if he does this, isn't he just the same as them? So yeah, that's pretty much one of the reasons why I like Tom Baker. I mean, other than that, he's still funny, quirky, all willing to get the job done, that sort of stuff. So the Fourth Doctor is pretty cool. All right, next up. Number 2, the 11th Doctor, portrayed by Matt Smith, also the current Doctor until this Christmas. Yeah, Matt Smith. Matt Smith is actually the youngest actor to start portraying the Doctor, because he was about 3 years younger than Peter Davison when Davison was the 5th Doctor. But so the cool thing about the 11th Doctor is he looks really young, but also he's still able to sort of act like an old man who has years of wisdom and stuff. I think the perfect way to put that is, as the 11th Doctor described himself, Space Gandalf. And the 11th Doctor still is still a great character. That's kind of a good balance between light and funny, like the things with the fez, the Stetson, all the funny hats, and also how he's able to interact with his companions sometimes and be cool and crack wise and stuff, and also be that, and kind of counterbalance the light side with some dark stuff, like how he's able to like automatically switch from being like this fun, clever guy to being like serious and like, okay, we need to do this, and tell and staring down at his enemies, telling him like, no, you can't do this, back off, man. Okay, maybe. But yeah, the 11th Doctor is really cool. There are times when I both enjoy Matt Smith's portrayal. He's funny, he makes me laugh, and also he can get really dark and very serious, and I think, okay, this dude knows what he's doing. He definitely knows how to get the job done. And So there's some great moments with that. And of course my number one favorite Doctor is, well, I've said this before, my number one Doctor is the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. Because David Tennant was, the 10th Doctor is my first Doctor, okay? When I started watching the series, I started with Series 2 because I noticed that David Tennant portrayed the character longer than Christopher Eccleston. I just went, okay, I should probably start with Tennant just to see how I like him. And I did like him. I liked him a lot. I liked all his zany. I liked all the things he did. He was funny. He was very entertaining. He had great catchphrases. Allons-y. I still say that. Yeah, and he's it's kind of weird when basically, and he's funny. He's able to, you can kind of see in David Tennant's eyes as he portrays the character that he's really enjoying this role, because David Tennant did grow up watching Doctor Who, the Fifth Doctor, so he's having a good time while he's playing it. And I think that's really great. He brings a lot of love to the character, and also not just the light stuff, but the dark stuff too. Like whenever he feels lonely or guilty about being the last Time Lord, because remember the Doctor did destroy all the Time Lords, mainly because they did go a little power mad at the end of the war. But yeah, the 10th Doctor was really amazing. I like him. He's definitely my Doctor. All right, David Tennant is really my Doctor. I started with him. I enjoyed his adventures. I was sad when I got to the end with the End of Time, and I'm really happy that I'm seeing him team up with Matt Smith for the Day of the Doctor. That is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for that. But yeah, pretty much those are my top 5 Doctors. What are yours? Pretty much, what are your top 5 Doctors? Like, which Doctor is your favorite? Which one would you call your Doctor? Please comment below. Also, thank you again for watching my videos. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, Spider-Man 1991, saying see you later.